You've now seen how systems fail, incentives drift, feedback delays, and over time, outcomes stop matching intentions. But how do you spot it early? How do you look at a system before it collapses and know whether it's stable or drifting? There are three questions that reveal the truth. Not what's written in policy, not what's claimed in speeches, but what's actually happening. These three questions work because they cut through the difference between what systems say they do and what they actually do. Question 1. What behavior does this system actually reward? Not what it says it rewards, what it actually rewards. Because systems don't run on intentions, they run on incentives, and people respond to incentives. If a system says it values quality but measures speed, it rewards speed. If it says it values learning but measures test scores, it rewards test performance. What gets measured gets optimized. What gets rewarded gets repeated. So this question cuts through rhetoric. It asks, what does this system actually pay attention to? The answer reveals whether incentives are aligned or drifting. Here's what this looks like in practice. Amazon warehouses say they value worker safety. They have safety protocols. They train employees on safety. The company publishes safety metrics, but they measure time on task. Seconds per item picked. Speed matters. Workers are tracked on output. Performance reviews depend on volume. Bonuses depend on meeting targets. What behavior does the system actually reward? Speed. And what happens? Workers skip breaks. They ignore pain. They rush past safety procedures. They treat their bodies like machines optimized for throughput. Because the system doesn't reward safety, it rewards speed. The policy says one thing, the structure enforces another, and structure always wins. This reveals whether a system's incentives are aligned. If the system rewards the behavior it claims to want, it's stable. If it rewards something else, it's drifting. Most drift starts here, with a gap between stated values and actual incentives. But knowing what a system rewards isn't enough. You also need to know how quickly people learn whether their behavior was right or wrong. Question 2. How long does feedback take? Fast feedback creates correction. Slow feedback creates drift. If actions produce visible consequences quickly, people adjust. Mistakes get caught, behavior improves. But if consequences appear months or years later, the system loses the ability to learn. By the time damage is visible, the decisions that caused it are ancient history. This explains why some industries correct themselves and others decay. In software development, feedback is fast. You write code, run a test, see if it works. Mistakes get caught in minutes. The system self-corrects. In construction, feedback is slow. You make a design choice, build for months, then discover the problem when the building leaks. By then, the architect has moved on. In healthcare, feedback is slow. A doctor's treatment decision shows results over years. Failures take decades to accumulate. By then, the decision maker has retired. Fast feedback keeps systems tight. Slow feedback lets them wander. So the second question asks, how quickly do bad decisions produce visible consequences? If the answer is days or weeks and the system can correct itself, if the answer is years, drift is inevitable because people optimize based on what they can see. And if consequences are invisible, behavior won't change. But here's the thing, even fast feedback doesn't always create correction. If the person who made the wrong decision doesn't experience the consequence. That's where the third question matters. Question 3. Who bears the consequences? If the people making decisions face the outcomes, the system self-corrects. If they don't, it drifts. This is the accountability gap. When decision makers are insulated from consequences, they stop optimizing for outcomes. They optimize for appearances, for short-term metrics, for whatever protects them personally. But when they face the results directly, decisions improve because proximity to consequences forces accountability. The 2008 financial crisis is the perfect example. Investment bankers packaged risky loans and sold them immediately. When the loans defaulted, the bankers were fine. They'd already collected fees. The losses hit pension funds, taxpayers, homeowners. The people making decisions didn't bear the consequences, so decisions decayed, risk was ignored, and the system drifted toward collapse. Because when you don't face the cost of being wrong, you stop being careful. Here's what makes this dangerous. When consequence is delayed and responsibility is diffuse, the system has no self-correction mechanism. The incentive drives behavior. Slow feedback means correction is delayed, and insulation from consequences means the decision maker never learns. This is a perfect system for drift. It happened in finance before 2008. It happens in healthcare when procedures are rewarded but outcomes aren't measured. It happens wherever incentives reward proxies instead of values. The pattern is consistent across all of them. These three questions work together. A system is stable when incentives reward the right behavior, feedback arrives quickly, decision makers face consequences. A system is drifting when incentives reward proxies instead of values, feedback is delayed, consequences fall on someone else. When all three conditions point the same direction, you can predict outcomes with certainty. Let's test these questions on real systems. Case 1. Healthcare in the United States. Question 1. What behavior does the system reward? Billing volume. Procedures performed, tests ordered, not patient outcomes, not preventive care, not long-term health. The system rewards activity, not results. Question 2. How long does feedback take? Years, decades. A patient's health decline from poor care takes years to show up. By then, the doctor has seen thousands of other patients. The hospital has changed policies. No one connects cause to effect. Feedback is too slow to correct behavior. Question 3. Who bears the consequences? Patients. Doctors and hospitals are insulated. Malpractice is rare. Mistakes are diffuse. Costs are passed on. Decision makers don't face the outcomes. All three questions point the same direction. The system is drifting, and the results confirm it. Rising costs. Declining outcomes. Patients trapped. Providers frustrated. Not because people are bad, but because the structure guarantees drift. Case 2. Open source software development. Question 1. What does it reward? Code that works. Contributions that solve problems. Reputation earned through results, not appearances, not credentials, not politics. Incentives are aligned. Question 2. How long does feedback take? Minutes? Hours? You submit code. It gets tested immediately. If it breaks, you know instantly. Feedback is fast. Question 3. Who bears the consequences? The contributors. If your code fails, your reputation suffers. If it works, you benefit. Decision makers face outcomes directly. All three questions point toward stability, and the results confirm it. High-quality software, rapid iteration, systems that improve over time. Not because people are better, but because structure enforces alignment. Case 3. A restaurant owner. Question 1. What does the system reward? Customer satisfaction. Repeat business. Quality of food and service. Not speed of seating if it sacrifices quality. Not raw volume if it damages reputation. Incentives are aligned. Question 2. How long does feedback take? Immediate or next day. Customers complain about bad food on the same day. Reviews appear within hours. Repeat business reflects quality within weeks. Feedback is fast. Question 3. Who bears the consequences? The owner. Bad decisions reduce revenue. Good decisions increase it. The owner experiences the outcome directly. All three questions point toward stability. And the result? The restaurant either improves or fails. Self-correction is built in. Notice the pattern. Systems with aligned incentives, fast feedback, and clear accountability. Stay stable. Systems with misaligned incentives, delayed feedback, and diffuse accountability. Drift. This isn't about morality, it's about structure. The people in these systems aren't different. The systems are different. Here's how to use this framework. Look at any system you encounter. Ask the 3 questions. What does it measure and reward? How long until consequences arrive? Who is insulated from the cost of mistakes? The answers will tell you whether you're in a stable system or one that's drifting toward failure. If all 3 answers point toward alignment, trust the system. It self-corrects. If all 3 point toward drift, don't be surprised when it fails. It's not a malfunction. It's the system working as designed. Understanding that difference is the foundation for seeing what others miss. Once you see these patterns, you'll stop blaming individuals for systemic failures. You'll stop expecting better behavior from people trapped in bad incentive structures. And you'll start recognizing that outcomes are driven by structure, not by character. The systems we build shape the behavior we get, and the behavior we get creates the outcomes we see. Change the structure, and behavior changes with it. That's the real leverage point.